Hey y'all, Eric here again. So I happened to be on, after finishing watching the news, I happened to go onto YouTube while I was doing some emails, and I happened to see on YouTube a short, which was a small piece of John Fetterman responding to one of the View co-hosts, taking him to task critically about why he jumped ship and voted for, with the GOP, to reopen the government. It's not that simple though, because it has come out now that just as all the people who have reported this, that those 8 Democrats, including Senator John Fetterman, caved to the Republicans for the promise of a vote on the ACA subsidies. And guess what? The Republicans now have come out and said exactly what they want in order to extend the ACA subsidies. And you'll never guess what it is. They want tougher abortion rules. And they want those rules tougher than the current one from the state of Texas. If they don't get those abortion rules, there will be no extension of ACA subsidies. So let me just break that down to you before I let you listen to John Fetterman's explanation about why he joined with the GOP. Because while a lot of people were calling for Chuck Schumer to step down from the minority leadership position in the Senate, and quite frankly, he needs to go. He needs to go. I didn't follow my own advice. I used to support Chuck Schumer in his speech grandstanding, thinking that he was going to do something physical with the grandstanding. But he didn't. And I always said, when somebody introduces themselves to you, believe them the first time, and I didn't believe it. Chuck Schumer needed to go. But even more than him, John Fetterman needs to go. And the good people of Pennsylvania, under the leadership of Josh Shapiro, need to replace him with a progressive, a progressive senator who will caucus with the Democrats, but still has some centrist ties. I have the video queued up, the full video, because like I said, I couldn't find the short. But I have the video queued up with what the short had. The full video is about 7 minutes long, and I will link it in the description. So that you will see that, and if I can find it while this is playing, I'm going to also link the information in about the Democrats wanting tougher abortion policies in order to pass the extension of the ACA. And the Democrats have already said the tougher abortion policies is a non-starter. It ain't happening. And since the abortion policies ain't happening, the ACA subsidies ain't happening. We tried to tell them not to cave, but they did anyway. They did anyway. Here's that video.
Bernie Sanders said the vote was a horrific mistake. Governor Gavin Newsom called it pathetic and a surrender. Poll after poll found more Americans on both sides of the aisle blaming Republicans. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed the GOP. As you mentioned, Democrats had big wins last week, so you had momentum. Why give in now? Why bring a butter knife to a gunfight? Are you willing to gamble that the GOP will negotiate on health care in good faith once the government reopens? Because if that gamble is wrong, 500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent, their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong. And I believe you are wrong.
Well, first of all, MTG is quite literally the last person in America that I'm going to take advice or to get their kinds of my leadership and values from. And now, if Democrats are celebrating crazy pants like that, then that's on them. And now I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations, and a lot of those things were part of the extreme. And now remember, what really needs to win, the big win, is involving my state. And other states and those things. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago? We want to forget. We got to forget some of the things that cost us that election. Or now, for me, it's like, that's why I'm trying to remind people that kinds of the extremism, we can't return to those kind of things and realize we need to find a way forward. And I would like to, rather than cite MTG, I'm going to cite one of the new governor-elects saying that my election is not a green light to continue the shutdown. Because I promise you, this isn't a political game. It is viewed by that by many of us, but the reality is 42 million Americans now not sure where their next meal is going to come from, and because we vote like that, or people that haven't been paid for 5 weeks now, and that kinds of chaos. Those workers borrow more than $500 million, from their credit union just to pay their bills now. So for me, we're in the middle of this.
Senator, I gotta ask you to hold up a second because we have to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
All right, so that was that video. That was that segment. The full interview piece is about 35 minutes long, where each of the co-hosts get to ask him a question. And so, if you rewind it back, go back and listen to him again. It's double talk. John Fetterman lives in a purple state, and he's scared he's going to lose his seat. He honestly thinks that what Gavin Newsom is saying and what Bernie Sanders is saying and what other people are saying is extremist policies. How, and yet he says that we have to negotiate with Republicans. That's all fine and well, but you don't cave in, and the only thing that you get is the promise of a vote. And that promise of the vote is not happening until December. And in December, that window is short before they recess and go home for the holidays, and won't be back until the second week in January. Now today is the 11th. There are 19 more days in this month. A vote is supposed to happen Wednesday, and they're saying they have enough votes now to reopen the government. But what did the Democrats get for the 8 people who are not up for re-election, and a couple of them are actually retiring? And all of them were saying that they were under pressure to vote to reopen the government. The pressure was not on the Democrats. The pressure should have been applied, and it was being applied to the Republicans. And the Democrats blinked first. And what did they walk away with? Not the ACA subsidies extension for a year, which is what they asked for. No. The 8 Democrats, what they got for the Democrats was the promise of a December vote on the extension of the ACA subsidies. And other political content creators said this. I did a video and I said this. What guarantee did you get that says that the Republicans are going to vote and pass the Affordable Care Act subsidies extension? What guarantee did you get that? Oh, you didn't get one? Oh, that's right, because it was just the promise that they would take a vote. That doesn't mean that they were going to vote to pass it. And in fact, it's going to require 60 votes in order for it to get to pass because of that annoying little filibuster, which requires a supermajority to pass it. Now, in this one instance where the planets have aligned, I agree with President Trump that we should get rid of the filibuster. Oh, I used to be one of those things. No, we need to keep it because if the Democrats aren't in power, they can use the filibuster to stop. Well, those days are over. Those days are over, and we get what we get. The Democrats, the Senate is divided 53 to 47. In order to get to 60, the Democrats will need 13 Republicans to side with them in the Senate to extend the ACA subsidies for a year. They're not going to get them. They're not going to get them. And just like they said in the video with John Fetterman, he's wrong. He's wrong. The Republicans are not going to come to the table to play. They're not. They have gotten everything that they wanted, and the Democrats have gotten nothing. And as the leader of the minority party, Chuck Schumer, even if he did vote no, he didn't hold his people accountable. He didn't hold them to the line. He didn't. And the House Democrats are right to be upset about it. But I'm not giving Hakeem Jeffries a pass either as the minority leader of the House. No, I'm not. I'm not. He's not nearly as bad as Chuck Schumer. Quite frankly, I want to see, and I don't live in New York, but I want to see AOC run for that Senate seat. And quite frankly, I think she would win. I think she would win. I think we need her more so in the House, but for effectual leadership in the Senate, Chuck Schumer needs to step down. He's part of the old guard. Not all of them are not working for us, but they're not doing the right thing. They're not. I don't want these federal workers to go another week without getting paid. I don't. But the Democrats and the Republicans could have come to the table and make concessions to have a separate bill that would pay the federal workers. A separate bill that would pay for the SNAP and WIC benefits. They could have done that, but the Republicans weren't budging. They wanted their way, and they got their way. But make no mistake, this shutdown, the longest in history, and the second under Donald Trump, is the Republicans' fault. They controlled the White House, they controlled the Senate, and they controlled the House. And they hold sway over the Supreme Court. We need effective leadership in those branches to hold sway, to move the actual America First agenda. And that means the American citizens' agenda first. Forward. Not this MAGA crap. Because as you can see, not only does Donald Trump, the President of the United States, not give a fat happy rat's ass about anybody, because he went to the Supreme Court again to try to stop states from issuing SNAP benefits. 16 states didn't even get to send out 50% of the SNAP benefits. And there's no telling how long it's going to take to ramp those systems back up, to get the rest of the benefits for November out to those states where some of them got them, let alone the states that didn't even give them a single dollar for SNAP benefits in those states. These are all receipts for the midterm elections in your state. You need to think about this. People have gone to pantries for the first time because of this crap. And pantries have run out of food. They've run out already. People are becoming stranded because of the cancellation of flights due to staffing issues. Donald Trump is holding starvation as a leverage tool to get the Democrats to cave, which they did with no concession, not realizing, or maybe they did realize what they do. And if they did realize what they were doing and they still voted anyway, write their 8 names down. You can Google it. Write their 8 names down and make sure that they hear from you and that their number is up. And that you won't forget in 2028 when their seats are up for election. So I'm going to end this video now. I just wanted to jump on and talk about that. Because I was just flabbergasted sitting here listening to John Fetterman. Quite frankly, and I'll just say it, YouTube can do whatever. John Fetterman is full of shit. He is. He is. He is. He's full of shit. And even on our side of the aisle, elections have consequences. But I will say it until I am blue in the face. Resistance is not futile. And just like I said that I committed an error, when someone introduces themselves to you, believe them the first time. Take care, have a good night, and I'll see you on the next video.